Hey everybody, Coach here. I wanted to send everyone a little video email of what we're going to be planning on for the St. Thomas game. Because we are not going to have a chance to practice before the game, I wanted to send a little video of what they're doing, how we're going to attack it, and how this looks really differently than the current offense that we currently run. So you guys can see here, this is our base set that we usually come out with. We've got the two wings out here. We've got the point guard. We got the high post guy. We got the guy on the low block. Typically what's happening is the point guard sends it in here, looks to make their cut straight through the middle. The hope is that the two with the wing finds Shane, Anthony, Andrew cutting as they go through to try and get a layup. If that's not there, this player always has an option to drive in and score. Of course, this player, this baseline player, is going to be going back and forth typically. They're going to try always come ball side. So when the ball comes over here, they can make a cut right to the rim, hopefully catching them under. Now, the reason I show this on here is that the defense we're going to be playing against St. Thomas looks like those circles on the map. They're going to run a 1-3-1. And why that presents challenges for us is I'm going to show you on a little chart here in a minute. But the basic reason I put these large arcs on the outside here is their whole goal with this 1-3-1 is to force the point guard to come over to the side here so that they can force you into this arc where then they can stack three defenders around you and there's nowhere to go because you have a guy here probably hanging out with you. You can't get the ball to him. This guy's basically blocked off the ball. You're not going to be able to get the ball into this guy because there's going to be a guy in between. Long and short of it is they're going to force us to the sidelines. And once they get you on the sidelines, having a fourth defender. So I want to change the offense up for this particular game. Again, this is the Thursday night against St. Thomas. Griffin's not going to be there, so I'm not going to count him in as I carry this conversation. So for the sake of our lineup and what we're going to do in this next game, here is how it's going to look. We're going to set up with something similar to a 2-1-2. It's going to look a little different. Out top here at point guard, we're going to actually have Shane and Anthony being our primary guys bringing the ball up the court. We're going to have a guy right somewhere probably actually in here, going to be our big guy. A little bit different than how typical a 2-1-2 runs. Typically also a 2-1-2 has the two guys out here. Because we have some limitations with how we use our big guys, we're still trying to get their skills to a certain point. Alex and Ian are actually going to be set up here in a different kind of role, which I'm going to roll through in a minute here. At the free throw line, which is in the heart of where the defense is going to be set against us, we're going to have Carter and Andrew rotating in that spot. The number 2 spot is going to be Luke and Patrick. The number 4 spot is going to be Keenan and Owen. I give these numbers because as I go through this next diagram, I want all the kids to know their number because that's the number they need to follow in this chart here. So 1 is Shane and Anthony, 5 Alex and Ian, 3 Carter and Andrew, 2 Luke and Patrick, 4 Keenan and Owen. And particular 2 and 4, I want them to be on those respective sides based on how I see their play and how we're going to be trying to moving the ball based on what's coming next. So moving to the actual chart here and how this is actually going to work in the game. So what I observed with St. Thomas is, the point guard comes up, like I was saying, the red is us. So the guard wants to come over this way. They're going to follow you. They're going to try and trap you right over here in this corner. That's what they're trying to do. This guy then comes over to help a little bit, leaving him here for a second. But the point is you get trapped in this corner with 3 guys around you. Typically, if we had our typical rotation, this guy would be up here with you, and there's nowhere to go with that ball. What was happening to St. Anne's was the point guard was dribbling to one of these 2 sidelines, getting stuck, the ball would get turned over, and then the next thing you know is off to the races. So what we're instead going to do is we're going to have Shane and Anthony bring the ball up the court. Remember, this is a free throw line extended defense here is what they're doing. So Shane and Anthony are going to bring the ball up the court. We're going to have our number 5. So that's going to be Alex and Ian. I'm going to ask them to set some kind of screen or pick. I want Shane and Anthony to roll off this. That is going to likely draw these defenders at that exact point we get to about here. This is where becomes the most important part of what happens next. And I can't repeat this enough. Shane and Anthony have got to know that pressure is going to come. And they've got to know that they've got to make the right next choice. This guy, he's the center. He's a really athletic big guy for them. He's going to pop out as far as he can, and this guy is also going to come out. So Shane and Anthony have got to know you've got to look at 2 and 3 as your next options if you're going to this side. This guy's only going to get held at bay for so long, so he's going to want to come on the backside. So this pass has to happen very quickly. Carter and Andrew in the middle here. you're likely going to be in some traffic at different points because this player, the minute they make that trap, this player is going to come up a little bit. This player is going to squeeze over a little bit. So if the ball is going to come into the middle to the 3, you've got to win that fight. You also have to know that if the ball comes into you, you've got to know that you've got your 2 outlets. So if you're going to catch and spin, you've got to be looking at these guys. Additionally, Alex and Ian have got to know that when the ball comes to this side, you have to bounce after you set the screen to the far side. The reason for that is if the ball comes into Carter and he truly is trapped, the easiest option, since the defense is still, let's say the ball's here, the defense rotates over and rotates over. You got to be able to kick it back outside. What I really want to see Alex and Ian focus on is not the dribble drive. The ball has to rotate as quickly as possible to the open guy. Because at that point, we're hoping for a dribble drive from Owen, Keenan, and of course, if everything was flipped around and the defense was on the other side, it would be Luke and Patrick in that far side. Ideally, what I'm really looking to see here is the ball come up. Let me swap these. And I want to see a good decision made. So he's kind of coming up here. We see Alex and Ian set a screen. The guard shifts over. That's still going to bring the double defenders. I want to see these guys kind of creep up so that they could offer some help. You don't want to get so close that this guy makes it for an easy pass. But again, you can creep inside. You can creep outside. You have a lot of space out here. There's 1 defender left back here. This is now where we have an advantage. The minute that ball can get over to this side, the team's going to they're going to shrink back. But here's the thing: we still have an advantage. We've now got a 3-on-2. So at that point, that defender comes over to help, which they will do. You've got to see the center, which Carter and Andrew, or you've also got to be able to look far side under the basket, depending on where that defender plays. The guy on their team typically hangs out pretty far under the basket. He does not want to leave that spot, is what I saw. So I really need the guys to recognize that. So going through these numbers very quickly, 2 and 4, the guys in the corners there. Your number 1 responsibility, obviously, is to kind of come up and help and get that first pass and do something with it. Obviously, first option, if you've got it, the reason why you guys are there, I want you guys driving to score. That's going to be number 1 thing. As the defense rotates to try and pick you up, depending on what side that you're on, you've got to look across for that pass. The difference between this offense and the offense that we run is there will always be guys in each baseline corner. That means whoever catches the ball, whatever side you're on, you will always have a kick to that side. You will also have a guy floating around the middle, and there will always, ultimately, after that initial screen is set, there will also be a guy out on the weak side. So if you're trapped in the corner here, they're starting to swarm you, and they're playing actually good defense. The center here has to know, all right, you got to get it over there, or you can go way over the top here. At the point the ball comes way over the top, the defense is going to rotate again to find their original positions. But then that's why this person has to be able to find an opening as quickly as possible to move that ball. This person, the 5, has got to have the ball. They're going to be trying to swing the ball around the outside as much as they can. Number 3 on the court. Your job is one of the hardest jobs here. You're typically in the middle of the defense there. Your job is to make a quick decision. You can either turn and drive the rim. That's why Carter and Andrew are in there. You can quickly pivot, send it to the corners for 2 and 4, or again, weak side help. If the ball is typically coming from the 1, you can go back, roll back to the weak side, outside, out to the 5, and send it over there. Again, the 5, when they get that ball, they're looking to make a pass into the corner, or if the defense rotates quickly enough to send it back over the top to the other far side, they just have to make that read very quickly. The number 5. This is probably one of the easier positions on the court initially. Your job is to set a screen. Every time one is trying to do something with the ball, you've just got to make sure you're somewhere that you can set a screen that they can get around. The other thing that number 5 really needs to do is they need to cover the non-ball side, so the weak side at all times. So they are always going to go away from the ball. If the ball comes over to this side, let's say the ball goes into the corner over to 4. I want 1 to rotate over. I want 5 then to kick back to the other side. Because the thought is if the ball is going to get into the corner and we need to get quickly rotated, I want it coming out to the point guard who then can make that decision to either dribble drive in or quickly make a pass around, because that's how we're going to be successful there. So 5, again, set a screen out top initially. Then you're going to cover the non-ball side and wait to rotate the ball. One, the point guard. This is that other hard thing. You got to feel that pressure. You know the pressures. They're going to try. They want to force you into the corners. You have to know that, to the sidelines, I should say. You have to know that. You have to use your screen. Call for the screen. They are typically, if they pick you up out past the three-point line, that's great for us. The further out they pick you up, that's going to open up the inside. That's when you've really got to know that these guys are going to come up some. And, of course, Carter and Andrew have got to find some space in there, because the further up they go, that's going to leave more space underneath the basket. So maybe in that case, Carter and Andrew have to drop. These guys have to come up, look for the pass, and then get it back underneath the basket. I'm going to count on 3 to win those one-on-one battles, because likely that's what it's going to be, is that the ball's going to come to you. You're likely going to already be covered. You're going to have to win that fight. The guy that's under the rim for them is not particularly great, but he is decently athletic, but he's not overwhelmingly strong. So getting back to the one has to feel the pressure, use the screen, and then make the pass to the 2, the 4, or the 3. And again, you've got to make that pass very, very quickly. As soon as that pressure is getting there, you have to know where you're going to go with the ball the minute you make that cut. Make the cut, look into the corner or look to the center, but know that you've got to make that pass. You're not going to have much time before they swarm on you. Please share this with all the kids. They need to know their numbers. They need to know their assignments. They need to understand the basics of this. We can talk through this briefly before the game, but because we don't have a practice, there's not a great time for me to really run through all this. The sooner the kids can see this, the better. Again, this is for the Thursday night game. This is not for the tomorrow game with St. Anne's. St. Anne's, we're going to run our base 2-3 on defense with one guy pressuring the ball, and we're going to run our standard offense. They are not overwhelmingly tall, athletic, strong, nothing. So we're not too worried about them. So I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow morning, and please see if your kids can watch this maybe tonight and possibly tomorrow night or / Thursday morning. Come with any questions, or please shoot me an email as well. I'm happy to answer them. All right, thanks.